Welcome to SHA, the Sound Healers Association, founded by Jonathan Goldman in 1982, bringing education and awareness of the use of sound and music for healing and transformation. SHA features presentations by founding pioneers in the modern sound healing field, and we have a sound healing directory allowing you to list your work or find practitioners and teachers. There's a monthly online meeting, a blog, a vast resource of articles, and much more. SHA, the Sound Healers Association, is dedicated to bringing harmony to the world of sound.
Okay, here we go, and we're jumping in now. And again, I'm Steve Farrell with Humanities Team. I'm here in Boulder, Colorado. I live near my dear friend Jonathan Goldman and his wife Andi, and it's my pleasure to be here just to introduce Jonathan and Andi as this program starts. So, and of course, this is a Sound Satsang, and it's a monthly program now that Humanities Team is really grateful to be producing each and every month with Jonathan and Andi. So thanks for being with us. I think you're going to have a fantastic time. Let me just want to read a brief introduction here as we get started. So Jonathan and Andi Goldman are a powerful pair in the world of conscious living and sound healing. Jonathan is an internationally recognized authority, pioneer, and author in sound healing. Andi is a licensed psychotherapist who utilizes holistic treatment and sound healing. Both are highly respected leaders in the sound healing and spiritual music community. Andi and Jonathan have co-written 2 books together, Chakra Frequencies and The Humming Effect. And again, I'll just share, when we came out a moment ago, Jonathan and I were sharing that sound healing is really taking off as it should, because it is, as we're creating conscious living in the world, sound healing is a big role. It's an incredibly useful device. And you're looking at the man here, Jonathan Goldman, who got this whole thing started, was called to it at an early age, and hooray, thank God he was, because look where sound healing is today. And my pleasure, Jonathan, to turn this over to you.
Hello, everyone. I am Jonathan Goldman.
Hi, and welcome to everyone. I am Andi Goldman, and in behalf of Jonathan and myself, we are delighted that you are joining us tonight for our Equinox Sound Satsang. So happy Equinox to everyone.
Indeed. Yeah, what a blessing it is.
And we have a very interesting program to share with you tonight, really in honor of the equinox. We are going to be focusing on sound and plants. We are going to be looking at all the research and all the information that has been coming through about sound and plants. So we are really excited to be sharing this with you all tonight. And we have got a wonderful video that you're going to see, and you're going to actually be hearing. We have a soundscape with the video, and you're going to actually be hearing a human voice interfacing with a plant and the sounds that we're going to experience. So it's quite exciting. We are also going to talk a lot about the equinox, and I'll do an astrological assessment. We have got some pretty intense cosmic energies happening. And we will conclude our program tonight with our guided global sound healing meditation for personal and planetary healing and to celebrate the equinox.
Totally. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are a Sound Satsang. This is a satsang is a Sanskrit word that means so many different things. It can mean community, discourse, teaching. We are all of the above. We are dedicated to using sound for healing and transformation and for raising consciousness of all sentient beings. So welcome aboard. It's going to be a wonderful ride tonight in terms of sound and plants.
And when we decided to do our program tonight on sound and plants, all of these questions came up. Hey, do plants actually hear us? Can they perceive sound? And if they are perceiving sounds, what are they likely to be listening to? So we delved into this topic and we discovered
Deep dive.
that there is a ton of knowledge, a ton of information and research that is showing that indeed plants are aware of their surroundings. And yes, they do respond to actually a quite surprising variety of stimuli. Now, I will say that the research into bioacoustics is still in its infancy, but we're going to go back in time and bring it up into current research, and we're going to find out a whole lot about how receptive plants are to sound.
Indeed. And tonight, once again, 3 basic areas, which is like humans transmitting sound to plants for growth and stuff, plants transmitting sound to humans as music, and the interface between the two of them. So let us begin our journey with a step into our Wayback Machine. Is that a reasonable thing to do?
I think we can do this because research over the past centuries actually has established some interesting facts about sound in plants.
Totally. And if we go back a long, long way, you can probably just think about it. The ancient peoples have always prayed to crops for food, basically. And the bottom line, whether the Native American indigenous people from Australia, the Aboriginals, some call them, working with song lines, or even getting into the Vedic traditions of singing hymns that were during planting and harvest season, people have always sung and talked to plants. But is there any reality to this, or is this just spiritual nonsense?
Well, Jonathan, I'm going to take us back to the 19th century, and I want to introduce our audience to a very important person in the arena of plants and sound, and that is Jagadish Chandra Bose. And he is actually called the man who listened to plants.
Any relation to the Bose who did the sound systems?
Well, I will say I thought so at the beginning, but after we really delved deeply into the research, he has no relationship to the Bose, current Bose sound systems. However, he was a world-class physicist. He was a world-class physicist long before he started delving into plants, basically. And he created what is called, he invented the crescograph. This is a device that actually measured the movement of plants. And he is quite famously known for a lecture and a demonstration that he gave at the Royal Society, where he wanted to show the scientists that were there that indeed there is a relationship between plants and movement and whatever else at that time. And so he showed on his crescograph the plants actually moving, and the audience was really quite in awe seeing this. And then he put bromide on the plants. Now, bromide, if someone may not know what that is, actually is, remember Alka-Seltzer,
yes,
Jonathan?
I do,
Plop, plop,
indeed.
fizz, fizz. Well,
right.
that is bromide. And what happened is that the movement of the plants began to slow down, and then they stopped. the movement stopped altogether. Now, the audience once again was just amazed. However, the prevailing wisdom of the scientific community at that time just went, well, we can't go along with this. This is just, he's a quack. And unfortunately, at that point, he was pretty much dismissed and disregarded in terms of working with plants. And it's interesting because a full century later, thankfully, molecular biology really confirmed his findings. And because of that, to this day, we have now got plant neurobiology. Now, and Jonathan, now this took place in the late 19th century, early 20th century. And I do want to mention that because of his research, we now know that plants are far more perceptive. They are far more responsive than to the environment than we ever thought possible. And they are communicating far more information than we ever realized. So let's go now into
Hold on for a minute. Couple of things, couple of additional things about Bose. Number one, world-renowned physicist. We said that he basically is the first person to create a transatlantic radio signal beating Marconi, the guy. So, and major physicists did that. And one of the things he found with regard to sound was that plants grew better with gentle sounds and they shrank from harsh noise.
Well,
That's
we're going
important.
to talk a little bit more about that too later on. But let's roll into, say, for instance, the mid 20th century, a little bit closer to where we are today.
Is it time to move into Cleve Backster land?
I was going to say it is time for Cleve Backster, who I think many of you probably have heard about because he wrote The Secret Life of Plants back in the 60s.
Actually, he was written about in The Secret Life of Plants by Tompkins and Bird, did a chapter.
Yeah.
And this is what really hipped a lot of people to it. Baxter was a former CIA interrogation specialist. Yikes. And one of the world's leading polygraph experts, basically a polygraph, a lie detector, and what he did. And I thought about this. What if he didn't do this? Because what guided him to do this? But he somehow attached a polygraph to a plant and noted that it was sort of putting out an electrical signal, not much happening, kind of would happen with almost any living thing. And then he had a thought, gee, I wonder what would happen if I burnt the plant, would it register anything? And before he did anything, he didn't pull out a lighter or do anything. The plant went shh in terms of the polygraph, just a signal of extreme stress, if you like. And this led him to do more and more experiments with different life forms, but particularly with plants doing different things. And you may have heard of experiments where basically they would take sample of someone's cheek and put it in a petri dish and then move it miles away, expose the person to emotional stimuli, and the basically cheek of sample in the petri
DNA,
dish of the DNA would respond. How crazy is that? Just showing, once again, I love it, showing the interconnectedness and the oneness of all things. Now, Baxter's work is really the basis of most of the modern work with plants and sound, plants and all sorts of stuff. The fact that he put these clips on the plant and the plant registered something very, very cool. Shortly after that, a fellow by the name of Marcel Vogel, who we talked about last time on our Sound Satsang, dealing with sound and crystals. But he thought that Baxter was probably really off. He'd heard about the experiments, didn't make any sense to him, so he replicated them, and he found that indeed, and he really focused more on intentionality, and he really found that basically plants responded to intent. Now that's huge.
Well, that is huge. And of course, we know that intention is such a powerful mechanism, really, that we humans are able to do. And Jonathan, it's of course reminds me of your formula, frequency plus intent equal healing.
Yeah.
And so we've had some pretty key figures throughout the ages that have worked with sound and plants. And I really have to talk about Findhorn at this point, because Findhorn, many of you probably are familiar with Findhorn. It was a community in Scotland that was started by Peter and Eileen Caddy and also Dorothy McLean. And this was back in the 60s, and they went up to Scotland to form this community. It was pretty barren land, a lot of sand dunes, that kind of thing. And they thought, how are they going to possibly plant gardens and grow food in that type of terrain? And actually, I think it was Dorothy McLean
Right.
that really started communicating with the plant divas. She started communicating with the elemental world, and she did prayers. She did chanting. She used her intention to get the soil working and get the plants growing. And in fact, Jonathan, which this is really interesting, they were able to literally grow a 42-pound cabbage. Now, the experts at the time said that is not possible.
Impossible.
You cannot do that in this type of sand dune terrain. However, it was possible, and they did do it. And so, I think when we use intention, there's so much that we can do. And talking about sound and plants, we need to talk about sonic bloom now.
Totally. This is
the same
Sonic
time.
Bloom is actually by a fellow by the name of Dan Carlson, who was a Korean veteran. While he was over there, he was motivated by witnessing starvation in Korea, and he thought, I really need to somehow help feed the planet. And he began experimenting to see if different sounds would affect the growth of plants. And what he found was that the frequencies of birdsong, which are about, and actually early morning birdsong, which are about 5,000 hertz, about 4,700 to about 5,300 hertz, actually caused dramatically increased absorption of plants. So then when combined with nutrients, and it was really important, he needed to work together with the new nutrients, he found that there was an incredibly different and exponentially better plant yield for this formula, which is called Sonic Bloom.
All right. So we are moving right through these major people that contributed to this whole.
In a fast way, indeed.
Yeah.
And we're moving to Dorothy Redelick, who I first encountered when I first began studying sound. And this was a woman who basically, in the early 70s, began to basically research. She was if you like, a Denver housewife who decided to go to school, and she had an empty nest syndrome for something to do. And she began to study in her possibly biology class. It was a biology class, but studied the effects of different musics on plants. And what she found, she would take, without going into details, she would take the plants, and she did this very methodically, she would take the plants and expose them to different musics. And she found that the music of Ravi Shankar, among all, really increased, had the plants really leaning toward the speakers. Next, after that came classical music. Then there was country and western, which is pretty much didn't do very much. And then she found that heavy metal music like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix basically caused the plants to basically move away, and perhaps were even detrimental to them. At the time I read this, I thought, okay, there's something wrong with this, because if plants relate to intentionality. And this woman didn't like that music, and the plants, if you like, responded favorably to the music she liked and non-favorably to the music she didn't like. That we really need to take into account the power of intention. But I will also acknowledge that, boy, if you're exposing something to music for 24/7 for weeks and weeks on end, I can understand the plants kind of moving away, because everything in its good time, a little bit of something, not necessarily too much of it.
Well, and thanks to Dorothy Redelick, current research is now suggesting that talking nicely to plants can enhance their growth, and they do respond well. And harsh sounds they don't respond favorably. And the current research is suggesting that it's really not about the volume per se, but it is about the vibration, and that the plants are actually responding to the vibrations that the sound is putting out. And they are finding that plants respond favorably to low levels of vibration. And now what we do know is that obviously plants do not hear music in the same way that we humans hear music, but they can sense and react to the sound and the vibrations, which will then influence their growth. So, we can really say thank you to people like Dorothy Redelick and the Caddies and Dorothy McLean and, of course, Cleve Backster.
It's time to travel to northern Italy, to
Yes.
Damahar, which is a scientific spiritual community in the Italian Alps, founded by a fellow by the name of Falco in the late 1970s. And the basic, if you like, foundational principles of using the music of plants, sounds of plants, came from there, where they built biofeedback devices, which basically is sort of what a polygraph is, and they would basically attach these to different plants, and the instruments would detect electromagnetic variations from the different plants, and they found that each plant had its own unique biological signal. So this is very, very cool. And just something, so they would attach these clips to the plants, and the plants would create different music. But how did they create the music? Okay, through something called MIDI, which stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface, which means that the electronic signal got put into a little computer, if you like, type of phenomena, got programmed to sound like music. And so just as a thing, whenever we listen to the sounds of plants and all that stuff, we'll talk about this more in a minute, but it probably sounds more like white noise or an electric hum rather than necessarily Bach, Beethoven, or choral voices. Sometimes I think that when we are hearing the, quote, music of plants, this is really an attempt by humans to anthropomorphize or put into account how they would perceive plants. Plants are definitely putting out a vibratory frequency. It may not be exactly like a chamber orchestra, but it doesn't matter, because this is really increasing our subtlety and our awareness of interfacing with plants. We've got to bring into account, I'm on a roll here, plant wave.
Right. Let's talk about plant wave. It's very popular in current time. So what we're finding with plant music is that it is actually a way of monitoring the electrical signals of the sounds, and the plant is responding to that electromagnetic response of the sound.
Indeed. And bottom line, just to remember that the plants are using MIDI, which is a sort of a translation layer which converts electrical signals into musical notes. So the raw plant signal is real and it's biological, but it's not music. And
Well, once again, I'm going back to the vibrations, Jonathan,
exactly,
because it is the sound vibrations that provide the stimulus for the plants to produce that music. So it's really the bioelectric field
that's right.
of the plant that is interfacing with the vibrations of the
And
sounds.
blessed be to Joe Patitucci, who basically first conceived this plant wave and other, if you like, instruments that are like that from the Damahar, because it really brings the concept of listening to our friends in the plant kingdom to us. So we love and applaud that. One last thing,
Yeah.
because we're going to be seeing the video very soon, which is kind of interesting, an example of this, but Andy found that there was some research, and it's there, that the scientists did that found that plants emit an ultrasonic frequency when they are stressed out, when they're, shall we say, don't have enough water or whatnot. They put out this ultrasonic frequency, which when transduced are brought down to an audible range. Sounds like a series of clicks and clacks, doesn't it?
That is right. And the research is ongoing with this, and they don't know if the plants are in fact communicating with, perhaps the insects and the animals around them. It's inaudible to our human hearing, but at any rate, they are communicating something. And so I think there's going to be more to find out as this really exciting area of plants and sounds continues to open up as much as it has over time. And now it's actually exploding, which is why we wanted to share it with everyone tonight.
Totally. So just talking about this, our dear friend Jeremy Roski, who is one of our Healing Sounds ambassadors, a wonderful student, teacher, just vibratory being, gave me a recording that he did with a plant. And Jeremy's work with the plant wave was much more advanced. He took it to the next level, putting it into his own sort of synthesizer system. And then he played along with it, which is mostly what people that I've spoken to, some very well-known musicians who have performed publicly with in this get up. And the reality is they're playing really along with the plant. If there's a feedback experience that happens, and I've also heard of some people who have done that, where like they've literally had the plants doing almost a call and response, but these people who've done it in public things have played along with the plants, but they've created beautiful music. So,
well, yeah, and I was going to say, I'm really excited for everyone to see this video and to hear this soundscape, because when I saw it, I was just quite blown away. So everyone
get out your popcorn, and Russell, shall we begin seeing this piece? It's a fun video too. I created the images, so I think you'll enjoy it. Well, I just think it's so cute. I really like that. Like the images, the sounds were great on a level. So that was Jeremy singing along with the plant, the programming of the plant. And it's actually a very long piece. He does this stuff live, and this is probably a half-hour piece that I edited down to 4 minutes. And so thank you, Jeremy Roski, and blessings to all of you. It was just a great fun on this fabulous solstice energy. Okay, and now tell us about the solstice, my dear. It's time for our astrological assessment.
It's the equinox, honey.
Well, even better.
Okay, so I want to just say happy equinox to everyone. And it actually occurred for us here in Colorado in the Mountain Time Zone this morning at 8:46. And of course, that would be an hour earlier for the Pacific time and 2 hours ahead in the Eastern time. So wherever you might be on the planet, happy equinox to everyone. And here for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it is the beginning of spring. And I have to say, Jonathan, when I got up this morning, I actually did feel a lightness of spirit. And I went outside because it was actually really warm here, unseasonably warm here in Colorado.
In fact, I thought it was the solstice.
I know.
Summer solstice,
I know
yikes, right.
And anyway, my crocuses were coming up, the daffodils and the tulips, and it was really quite refreshing. And the key word today for all of us on the planet is balance. Balance. Today we have equal day and equal night. And so thinking about balance, it is a change of season too, always gives us an opportunity to pause and to reflect, whether it's the spring equinox happening for us here in the Northern Hemisphere or in the Southern Hemisphere, it is the time of the fall season. It doesn't matter. It really is a beautiful time to reflect. It is a time to co-create with the rhythms of nature. And the equinox actually happens in March when the sun moves into the sign of Aries. It goes into 0 degrees of Aries, and that is the moment that we have the equinox. And many believe that really it's the first sign of the zodiac, and it goes into the first degree of the zodiac. It is the beginning of the astrological new year. And what that really means is that the energies that are happening today cosmically, we are going to be feeling them throughout the year. And of course, here with in the Northern Hemisphere, with it being the first day of spring, what's happening for us is that light is taking over the darkness. And we really do begin to feel a bit more of a life force and a bit more creativity. And Gaia really begins to show us that when you start really tuning in to co-create with the rhythms of nature, that wherever we are, we can begin anew, we can begin afresh. And I love that feeling of the new beginnings. And that's a big focus as well. Now, to understand, however, this particular equinox, we must first look at the extraordinary cosmic background, because I want to tell everyone that this equinox is really not, it's very different. It is an extraordinarily different equinox, and I'll tell you why. About a month ago, Jonathan, the planet Saturn conjuncted the planet Neptune. We had a Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries. Now, that goes hand in hand with the 0 degrees of Aries happening today for the opening of this equinox period. And now I want to talk a little bit about that Saturn-Neptune conjunction, because I think people that have been following astrology or that are interested will find this fascinating, because Saturn and Neptune actually form conjunctions with each other probably every 36 years. It can be in a particular degree, a particular astrological sign. However, a month ago when they made the conjunction in Aries, that was the first time they have had a conjunction in the sign of Aries since the 1700s. I believe it might have been in 1702. Now, to add to that, this recent conjunction at 0 degrees of Aries, that has not happened in thousands of years. And so, wow, we can really begin to sense the scale of what we are going through as a planet, as humanity. This is pretty potent energy. When these two planets actually do come together, and I want to just mention that when we talk about Saturn, we're talking about discipline, we're talking about structure, authority, boundaries. When we're talking about Neptune, Neptune represents imagination. It represents spirituality. It dissolves limitations. In fact, I was thinking about this, and my first astrology teacher said that when there's a Neptune aspect, it's almost like you're trying to grab a handful of smoke. That's how elusive it can be. And so when these two planets come together, it is hard to get a grasp on what's real and what isn't. Interesting. But this friction can also lead to visionary movements. It can lead to radical uprisings of consciousness. So you can see that we are in dynamic energy with this particular equinox, more so than we have been with others. And now, to even add to all of this energy, which we really have to do, along with the new beginnings of the equinox, just 2 days ago, we had a new moon, which once again is auspicious for new beginnings. This equinox, we are still in the energies of the eclipses that happened last month, and that amplifies these energies yet again. Interestingly, also today, Mercury went direct. Mercury has been retrograde the month of March, so all of those delays and miscommunications, well, we can let go of that, and it's almost Mercury going direct on the 0 degrees of Aries. It's like we've got a green light saying, movement, go for it. We can start communicating. And so that is a real positive change for Mercury to go direct. And I don't want to forget to mention as well that last month, to add to this energy, we had the Chinese New Year, the year of the fire horse.
And the Tibetan New Year, Losar.
Wow. Well, in the fire horse, Jonathan, once again, we've got that fire energy, that dynamic energy, that movement of the horse. So I think we can safely say that with all this profound astrological energy, things are moving quickly. Some key words to just contemplate for this period: freedom, fast moving, initiation, rebirth, confidence. This energy is so potent and so powerful that we really are being asked to be intentional now with our actions, with our commitments, with our intentions that we are setting on this really energy to move forward. And So this equinox, this March 2026 equinox, arrives at one of the most significant astrological junctures in living memory and possibly in past many lifetimes. So the old structures, they are dissolving and the new cycles are beginning. So I would just let everybody know, when you're setting your intentions and thinking about this energy, it really is a time to plant new seeds. It really is this time for a new earth. It is powerful right now. So I do hope that this has been helpful as we are experiencing this very, very extremely different time of humanity. So, Jonathan.
Right. And this time of humanity needs, I think, as much planetary healing as we can give it, kids. So let's buckle up and basically get ready to be involved with our global guided Om meditation, which creates heart-burning coherence, which amplifies our electromagnetic field. And I want to tell you that last month we had World Sound Healing Day. A lot of you were involved with that. And I hope you saw, if you like, the results of the Global Consciousness Project, because it was pretty phenomenal. The Global Consciousness Project, which measures random number generators throughout the planet. And normally, if nothing's happening, it's a flat line. But this time, looked like a mountain, particularly during the time of our global unified heart activation. So something is happening. We're doing something. Thank you for co-creating and joining us. And let's do this now. For those of you who have not done this before, just listen to Andi's words during this guided meditation. They will guide you into heart-brain coherence, and that's all sound together when the time is appropriate for planetary peace, transformation, and healing, or as we like to say, Tikkun Olam. Healing of the planet. All right, Russell?
And on this particular moment in time with the equinox celebration, our guided global sound healing meditation is especially profound. So let us all join in.
Nice.
The purpose for this meditation is to project a sound encoded with the energies of light and love, and project healing to the Gaia matrix, our beloved planet Earth. We will first create coherence between our heart and our brain. This effect will further be amplified by the power of the Om that you will be toning along with later, bringing more light and love into your body, mind, and spirit for health and wellness. And now, begin to focus on your breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. Slowly breathing in and out. And as you're breathing in and out, imagine or visualize that you're breathing in and out through your heart. As you're breathing in and out through the area of your heart, remembering that it is love that breathes each breath. And it is love that causes each beat of our heart. Continue breathing slowly, breathing in and out in this manner. And now, I'd like you to call to mind something that has brought you a great deal of appreciation, gratitude, something that you are feeling very good about. This might be an experience with another person. Perhaps it's a beautiful sunset. It may be a beloved pet, a spouse. But it is something that has brought you loving kindness and gratitude and appreciation. And as you're breathing in and out through your heart, feeling this appreciation, feeling this gratitude, you're creating a beautiful coherence between your heart and your brain. And your heart, through this coherence, is expanding, getting larger and larger, and connecting with all the heart and loving energy on our planet in this moment. This is just a wonderful way of creating a very powerful heart activation, and you'll be amplifying this with the sound of the Om. Continue breathing slowly and deeply while feeling appreciation and gratitude, and imagining your breath going in and out through your heart. Now, visualize this energy and begin to sense a radiant light around you that is permeating every cell of your body and resonating your heart chakra. In a moment, we'll begin to gently sound forth with the power of the Om. And as you do this, visualize the planet Earth as a holographic image floating in front of you. Imagine bathing the Earth in a healing field of light and love that you are creating through your sacred sound. Now, let us begin to make the heart sound of the Om, bringing the energy of global harmonization, peace and healing to our beloved planet, Earth. one last time. Now, being in silence, visualizing all the light and love through sound that you have manifested, resonating and bringing to earth and yourself to a deep state of healing. And when you feel ready, open your eyes and know that you have contributed to personal and planetary healing.
Nice. Thank you all. That was nice.
Oh, thank you very much. And we hope that this meditation could just begin to open that portal of the equinox and all of your intentions and all of your co-creating with the rhythms of nature today on this auspicious day.
And this is just sort of a wrap-up of our sound and plants as a concept. The entire arc of history is that humanity is slowly finding scientific language for what direct experience is always known. The living world is not mute. It is not different. It interfaces with each other. I remember, Andy, yikes, 40 plus years ago, more than that, walking along Boston streets, singing and toning and oming to trees that seemed like they were in difficulty. Remember to sing to your plant. Remember to hear whatever vibrations if you have a device, wonderful. If not, just feel the vibrations from the plant, because there is an interface. We are all one. We are all connected to all living beings. Thank you so much for doing this. Andy, any last words you want to say?
I think too that when we were talking about, when we were deciding what our topic would be tonight, and we chose plants and sound because it has become very popular and it is in people's consciousness. And it made me kind of wonder does consciousness extend past our human
Oh,
consciousness.
totally. Yes.
And
Yes,
my
of
goodness
course.
gracious. So,
It does.
yeah.
It's all about consciousness and compassion. And maybe those are the same
Well,
ultimately.
when we talk nicely to our plants, we are very, compassionately communicating. So we hope that you all have enjoyed this uh, equinox, vernal equinox here in the northern hemisphere, and the fall equinox in the southern hemisphere,
Yes.
and just so many blessings of love and light through sound to each and every one of you. And thank you again to Humanity's team for producing our Sound Satsang, and to our Sound Healers Association, which is the oldest sound association that Jonathan actually started back in the 80s. And Nasiri Suzanne is our director, and she's happy to communicate with you if you're interested in joining and becoming a member. But in the meantime, let us just all communicate compassionately and listen compassionately and speak to our plants and watch them speak nicely to our plants.
So until we see you at our next Sound Satsang, keep lots of love and light through sound in your life, and just really know that through our light, our love and sound, we can make a difference. We have a choice.
And Jonathan, we heal the planet.
We heal ourselves.
We heal ourselves.
And we heal the planet.
So everyone, many blessings on this equinox moment. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye now. Thank you.